Before I start my review for Guardians of the Galaxy, I want to first discuss Square Enix's first Marvel game that didn't live up to what Square Enix wanted it to be, Marvel's Avengers. I never played the game, but from what I've heard from reviews and other YouTube channels, the game is just not good, and if anything, mediocre. Square Enix thought that pushing an Avengers IP into an oversaturated looter genre where you just grind and grind for hours, not to also mention that the game released in such an unfinished state that it ultimately ruined people's experiences that they were playing a Marvel game, and it can't even compare to Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4. This failure of a live service game ultimately lost about 90% of its player base after the game's launch and hasn't had a good thing going since then. But with that said, take everything about what I said about Marvel's Avengers and throw it away when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy, because this game is everything that Marvel's Avengers should have been. A story-driven focused game with linear design and no live service material that milks all the money you have with microtransactions.
This Square Enix Marvel game. This is Square Enix Marvel game.
Supposed to be.
While Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy isn't perfect compared to Spider-Man PS4 or even Spider-Man Miles Morales, Guardians of the Galaxy is a step in the right direction for Square Enix. The story and dialogue between characters is absolutely wonderful that this game even won Best Narrative at the Game Awards in 2021. All these characters, Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and Drax, act just like their comic book counterparts, and honestly does such a better job at representing these characters than James Gunn's movies, and it's because of how much time we spent interacting with these characters in the game compared to a 2-hour movie.
I know. We clearly need a plan.
Reconsider my initial proposal.
Oh, no, not Fin Fang Foom again.
Yes, we should go after Fin Fang Foom.
Drax, there are easier ways to get paid. Like, what about selling Gamora's crap?
What?
Oh, come on. You've been hoarding them stupid knickknacks ever since you first joined us. I mean, don't tell me they ain't worth nothing.
Quarantine zone was always there.
Holding out on
My
us, Quill.
figurines are not knickknacks.
What, are you gonna kill us? In theory, these doors don't open until I say so.
Initiate not lockdown. All good for systems go. Activate.
Voice print not authorized.
Just trying to help.
The dialogue with these characters and their banter between each other feels so real, like it's a genuine conversation or argument. These voice actors, especially the one for Star-Lord, John McLaren, does such an incredible job. And besides the incredible job the developers had with the script of this game, the story and world building is also incredible. The story starts off with Star-Lord and the Guardians after the events of an intergalactic war, trying to obtain illegal items in a quarantine zone where they get caught by the Nova Corps, so now they have to pay a fine, and that's all I'm going to say about the story because obviously spoilers, but after finishing the campaign in about 20 hours, I can definitely see why this game won Best Narrative. The characters in this game feel so alive and witty, and I can honestly hear them talk all day. Now, while the story and dialogue in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is definitely the best part of this game, the combat is a little hit or miss for me. This game is about a group of Guardians trying to save the galaxy, but you can only play as Star-Lord throughout the entire game. During combat, you can't switch to Drax, Gamora, Rocket, or Groot. Instead, you can only give them commands to help you through combat. Groot is great with crowd control, Drax is great at staggering enemies, Gamora is great at putting decent amount of damage, and Rocket just blows things up. But what sucks is that you can't play as these characters. I thought it would be great if they did the combat the way Final Fantasy VII Remake did combat, where you get to switch between characters during fights while also giving those characters command options. It would have made the combat a lot more fun and different if you could have chose characters, and a sense of freedom of gameplay. And since combat is the main focus in terms of gameplay, you may or may not have a ton of fun. But I will say that the story and dialogue is what make this game a huge recommendation from me.
Giant chasm.
What are you? Do not have time to dawdle in this jungle. I shall hurl the creature over the chasm so he may activate the...
I may activate a hole through your face!
So to summarize this game in terms of a score, I think I would give it a very solid 8 out of 10. That has a 9 out of 10 story with so many memorable characters and conversations, with a 6 to 7 out of 10 on combat. Exploration and the level design is fine, it doesn't really need a score, but I seriously 100% recommend that you give this game a try. And since it's coming out on Game Pass on March 10th, I would 100% tell you to try it if you have Game Pass. It is really worth it, and it's so much better than what Marvel's Avengers gave players.